The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to the Arlen Ness Air Kit and Big Sucker webinar here, co-sponsored Cruiser Customizing and Arlen Ness. We appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We know it's a Sunday evening and people are getting ready for the work week. Tonight we're going to have Zach Ness on the line as well as myself, Kyle Bradshaw. For those of you who aren't aware, I've been with Cruiser Customizing for 10 years now. We specialize in Harley-Davidson and metric cruiser and Goldwing parts and accessories. Zach, want to give us a little introduction on who you are and kind of how you came to be?
Yeah, how's it going, guys? My name is Zach Ness. My dad is Corey Ness, and my grandfather is Arlen Ness. Been working in the company ever since about 13 years old, officially from sweeping the floors to kind of progressively throughout every area of the company, whether it be sweeping floors, packaging parts, and now been about full-time in the company for about 2.5 years now, and I designed the majority of the product line with my dad. So a lot of your air cleaners, especially the new inverted series, those are all my designs, and yeah, kind of everywhere in there on this product line, and here to ask or answer any questions you guys have.
That's awesome. So as we kick this thing off, you guys are going to get a couple different survey questions throughout the evening. Jason is going to go ahead and post those up for us. So Jason's in the background. He's actually running the webinar, making sure that you guys are all taken care of. If you have any questions or concerns throughout this event, go ahead and use the chat to staff, and Jason will go ahead and answer your question and get you taken care of. Want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Jason? Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I'll be working with Kyle with this webinar. I'm doing the marketing for Cruiser Customizing. So that's me. I'm just in the back. So any questions, just let me know through the chat or the questions section.
Beautiful. Thanks, Jason. So let's go ahead and kick off the first question, just to kind of get an idea of who the audience is out there and what the percentage of metric, Harley, Victory, or custom motorcycles we have. So Jason's going to kick some polls off tonight. This is the first one, and it is, what do you ride? We're just kind of curious. Are you riding a metric, Harley-Davidson, Victory, Goldwing maybe, a custom motorcycle? So you should see the poll there on your screen. Go ahead and click the box that applies to you, and in just a few minutes we're going to go ahead and release that and see the answers, and then we'll kick it off a little farther. And while we're doing that, the main reason that we're really here is really to get more performance, more power, and sometimes better fuel economy out of our motorcycles. Basically, make it all it can be. Air, fuel, exhaust is really the main ingredients that allow us to get power, aside from, say, changing your gearing, cams, or motor work. As far as where you come from, Zach, what are some of the common key things that people do to increase power on their bikes?
Well, I think first off, the simplest, most effective, and most economical way to increase power without breaking open your engine and going through everything would be an air cleaner kit. So it's like, for instance, if you ever go snorkeling, if you're outside of water and you breathe through a snorkel, it's kind of what an OEM air cleaner box is. It restricts the airflow. It makes it hard to breathe. So if you change your air cleaner kit, throw some exhaust, and when you do that, you throw a fuel tuner in to adjust your fuel input. But that's the easiest way to upgrade performance of your motorcycle without making a major engine mod. So not cracking the cases, not taking the heads off. You throw an air cleaner on there, your engine's going to breathe better. It's just the way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just, I mean, a lot of people put pipes on their bikes expecting to get a big performance increase, but unless you modify that air, you're really not going to get much. All right, Jason, what are you looking at as far as polls go?
All right, I'm going to close the poll right now. So the results that we had was 61% metric, 34% Harley, 5% Victory, and 0% custom.
Nice. Good deal. All right, so today during this webinar, we're going to be talking about why is air important. Oh, that should say is. The first step in increasing your airflow. Second step, we'll try to dispel any concerns you've got, show you some air kit options. Then we're going to give away a Big Sucker, which is a pretty exciting endeavor. And then, of course, the question and answer, which is personally my favorite part of the whole thing. So the next question, now that we know that the majority of you guys are riding, or at least 1/3, are riding Harley Davidson 2/3 riding metric, is what type of air are you currently getting into your motorcycle? Are you running your stock airbox? Are you running a K&N filter? Or are you running an aftermarket air kit? Jason, if you could pop that one for us, that'd be great. Thank you, sir. Now, while you guys are answering that question, now we talked a little bit earlier about how exhaust pipes are usually the first thing people do because they just sound awesome. And then you get into some sort of air kit modification which really necessitates the need to do some sort of fuel management, be it say a power commander or a big shot or something like that, or if you're carbureted, to just do a simple jet kit. With these kits, Zach, what kind of enhancements are you guys seeing when you guys are adding the air fuel to this thing?
The air and the fuel, or mostly the air?
Well, how successful are you guys at adding air without adding fuel, or what are the effects of doing that?
Okay, so if you're going to just change the air cleaner by itself, you're going to add more in the engine, you're going to add performance. If you're going to go your air cleaner and the exhaust, and then I'm going to highly recommend you're going to do a fuel tuner. You're going to need to push more fuel in the engine and pull more fuel in the engine. So it's all the fuel tuners have a load-based programming. So depending on if you're accelerating, decelerating, elevation, depending on your fuel tuner. But I'd highly recommend if you're changing both, as far as the air cleaner and the pipes, definitely get the fuel tuner. Otherwise, your engine's kind of running, for lack of better words, a little out of whack. But with our Big Sucker air cleaner, especially, we've gained up to 21% horsepower increase just by simply installing our Big Sucker. It really tells you with a lot of these engines that they really are choked up, and that's because the EPA, which I'm not a big fan of, might I add, it's for OEMs and even the aftermarket guys to do business. So it really does open up the potential of your motorcycle. It's like if you're sprinting up a hill or you're sprinting on the treadmill and then someone makes you breathe through a snorkel, it's kind of like that for your motorcycle right off the line. So by doing that, it opens it up and it just gives it more air and it lets your engine just work a little better.
Awesome. So what do we got as far as answers go there, Jason?
All right, let me close down the poll here, but the results is 70% with the stock airbox, 20% with a K&N in-stock airbox, and 9% with an aftermarket air kit.
Beautiful. So it looks like the majority of people are running either stock or with a K&N filter. Now, the K&N filter is a huge increase over stock. You're going to notice a little bit of throttle response, and the bike's definitely going to run better. Aftermarket air kits, why are they important? I mean, probably one of the most economical reasons that you want to do an air kit is the fact you're going to save money. And every aftermarket kit out there has a serviceable filter, which means you can take the filter off your motorcycle, use a cleaner, rinse out the debris, let it dry, re-oil it, put it back in the bike, and effectively you're not spending any money every time you need to change the filter. Versus if you're using a stock filter, you're looking at anywhere between $12 and $60 depending on the filter when you have to change the air filter every 5 to 15,000 miles depending on the manufacturer. So a lot of you guys are running K&N. Now you guys use it in the Big Sucker. Arlen Ness uses a K&N style filter, not necessarily from K&N. What can you talk about as far as the flowing of air through a filter style like this, Zach?
Well, as opposed to a stock filter, which are a paper type element filter, your ours, which is our own manufactured filter, and as opposed to say a K&N filters, a lot of times are using a spinning process, which kind of tends to put a kind of wicking material on your filter element, which is happens to be restrictive at some times. I'm nothing against K&N; they're a great company; they do great things. But the one benefit of our filters is they're hand poured, so it makes a clean transition from urethane to filter element. There's no restrictive wicking material on the filter element. And with an aftermarket like ours or in a K&N, they're made of cotton. And depending on if you have a stainless jacket like some of our Big Suckers or just straight cotton, what it does, it allows you to reuse your filter. It's a lot more efficient. It's going to breathe better. It's going to filter a lot better than stock. You'd be really surprised. So any of the small debris, even debris that you won't see after a while, If your engine gets built up, it will cause corrosion and cylinder damage. So with that, you can reuse your filter, which is going to save you money in the long run. You're going to have more air coming in your engine, and it's going to filter. So all around, it's just a better decision to make.
Beautiful. So yeah, that's the number one step to getting better airflow is getting rid of the stock paper element and going with a freer flowing filter. But really the best way to get more air into your motor is to go with an aftermarket air kit. Now, why does an aftermarket air kit flow more than, say, the stock air box? Here's a couple examples. This one here is off a Harley-Davidson Sportster. If you take a look at the upper right-hand corner of that picture, those two square boxes, that's the only way that air gets into the air box. And obviously that is not facing outward, so it has to suck from back, kind of underneath the tank area there. This here is on a Triumph. Now this actually sits underneath the seat. So air has to go underneath your seat, kind of get sucked through the seat and the side covers and then in this nozzle before it can even get to the air filter. This here is an example of a 750 Aero, and this example here is a VTX 1300. Now this just shows the entire air box completely sealed except for the nozzle that you're going to see on the back, which is less than the size of, say, a tennis ball. So the K&N filter, you go ahead and throw that high-flowing filter into this box. Yes, you're going to get a little bit snappier throttle response, but you're really not allowing that filter to get as much air to it as it could handle. And that really is why you'd do an air box. So for example, this here is the air box you'd find on a VTX 1300 stock from the factory. And then this is a big air kit that we installed a couple years ago. As you can see, the filter element itself is completely exposed, and this motor is allowed to suck as much air as it possibly can. Now, Zach, is it possible to put too much air into the motor?
No, it's not. A lot of time, that's what somewhat, superchargers, they force more into the engine, so which causes more performance. A lot of the times, like for our big sucker pulls in more air than the engine can handle, period. So a lot of times you don't got to worry about if you're going to add an air cleaner, you think, okay, it's going to throw my engine out of whack, I'm going to pull in too much air, something's going to go wrong. A lot of the time it gives the engine the air it deserves, and the engine's going to pull as much air as it can handle unless it's forced in like in a supercharger setup. So for just adding an air cleaner, you're not going to put in more air than your engine can handle.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. So the next poll question, what might keep you from upgrading your airbox? Whether it be installation questions, Jason, if you go ahead and pop a poll for us, whether it be fuel management concerns, or whether there's skepticism, or essentially no perceived value. So I've already got a K&N, why would I really need to, or I don't know that I'd recognize enough of the benefits in order to make it worth the couple $100 investment. From your standpoint, Zach, which of these do you anticipate being the biggest answer here?
I'd say maybe fuel management concerns. I think the skepticism, it'd be tough to make an argument against it. I mean, it really would. You take a look at a stock airbox, whether it be in a car or a motorcycle, it's not hard to see. It chokes it up. And maybe some guys think, especially with the modern day computers, if you don't have a carbureted motorcycle, it could throw out a whack, and the computer really isn't sensing what's going on or not used to it. So off the top of my head, I'd say maybe fuel management concerns.
Okay, I'd have to imagine the same thing. Installation questions, I know that if no one has dug into their stock airbox in the past, I know that can be a concern. I mean, it's all sealed up. You really aren't seeing what's behind there and what the mechanics are, but essentially you have a restrictive box bolted to your intake or your carb. It really is pretty simple. We can go through that, and you can see some examples on our YouTube channel of both the standard big sucker as well as the inverted big sucker that we did this last weekend. The installation was really pretty simple. All right, Jason, let's go ahead and take a look at the results.
All right. Well, looks like you guys are right. 51% fuel management concerns, then followed by 31% installation questions and 17% skepticism.
Interesting. Okay. So it pretty much falls in line. I would be really curious. If you have a skepticism question, if you could go ahead and email me your question, and I'll see, work with Zach and see if we can't answer that for you. Or I would love for you to stay tuned for the question and answers here at the end, where we talk a little bit about any concerns you guys have. You can ask any question you like, and we'll get those things answered. So as far as the general air kit installation, you basically remove the old airbox, which is half a dozen to a dozen screws, maybe some brackets. If carbureted, it's definitely recommended that you rejet, because you already have it apart. You might as well just legitimately dig it into the carburetor. It's really not that difficult. And for those of you who are not in tune with kind of how a carburetor works, when you rejet the carburetor, you're replacing usually a main jet, a pilot jet, possibly the needle and the E-clip, or you're shimming it and maybe a spring, adjusting the air and the fuel with an air-fuel mixture screw. It's really very simple once you understand what the parts do, and there's lots and lots of videos you can watch to kind of understand that a little bit. You have any tips or tricks to dispel some of the concerns about fuel management, Zach?
I think with a lot of guys, especially with the late model motorcycles, it's with carburation, it might get you a little nervous splitting your carb and rejetting it and going through that process. The nice thing about modern technology and the advancement in motorcycles is a lot of times you can do it with a computer. It makes it a little harder maybe to do it yourself, but for a shop to dial it in, or there's pre-programmed codes and cards for different products. So a lot of the times it's as easy as plugging your computer into your computer, and 5 minutes later you're good to go. So it may be a little intimidating at first, but when you really go into the simple dynamics of it and how it really works, it's you'll be a lot more comfortable, because it's a simple process. It's just really getting the information in front of you and wrapping your head around it.
In addition to that, there's now some fuel tuners out there that really go off of the bike and when it runs, and it kind of self-adjusts itself, like the Cobra FI 2000, and there's a couple others out there that actually allow you to just essentially plug and play, and it will automatically remap itself as you ride down the road. Kind of neat features there. So once you have the bike apart, or at least the airbox off of the motorcycle, you install a backing plate, attach the filter, and fit the cover. With a lot of the Big Sucker options, you get to choose which cover you want, so you can customize that as well. Any tips or tricks as far as the general air kit installation goes, Zach?
Main thing is, as soon as you get your stock airbox off, a couple things you watch. The most important thing I can tell you when installing the actual air cleaner is watch your torque. You don't want to torque your bolts too tight. You could strip your heads, and there's a multitude of things that can go wrong. So main thing is, even though you might think it's not tight enough, really pay attention to the torque specs on the air cleaner kit. When you over tighten things, it might cause things to crack, break, or stress on an arm that not needed. So just pay attention to your torque instructions and torque appropriately.
And if you're using a Big Sucker kit, it tells you the exact torque specs to use, so definitely pay attention to those. This here is an example of a VTX installation that we did. As you can see, the carburetor on the left-hand side is completely exposed. You then have a backing plate, the filter goes on, and then the chrome cover went on top of that. This here is the inverted Big Sucker that we installed just this last Saturday, or yesterday, for the tip of the week. Once again, the entire OEM Harley airbox came off. Then the Big Sucker was installed, the backing plate, the filter, the front plate. Now, Zach, what I'd like you to touch on here a little bit, if you would, are the breather bolts, or the banjo bolts that go into the heads there.
Yeah.
On your particular kit, you don't reuse the rubber hoses that come out of the backing plate. They're special bolts that go in there. Can you kind of explain those a little bit?
Okay, yeah. So the reason, or one of the reasons, that our Big Sucker and now our inverted air cleaners are so successful is our hidden breather backing plate technology. It's patented, and it really is the best way to do it. When you look at it, instead of having your breather hoses external and external fittings, our backing plate actually integrates the breathers into the actual backing plate. So it breathes from the heads and exits at the mouth of the injector in the carb, creating a virtually closed-loop system. You don't need any external hoses that might be associated with some oil leakage and whatnot. So it keeps it all in a one simple backing plate, and it really does, besides making a much cleaner and simple setup without having external hoses, and you don't got to worry about a lot more things. It increases performance, especially in the backing plate itself, having a radius air inlet and injecting in the mouth of the carb. It pretty much gives you the best setup that you can get for your motorcycle.
Beautiful. Thanks for that explanation. Appreciate that. So how much of an increase can I expect? I know that earlier Zach alluded to the 21% increase in horsepower that you can potentially get. Now, what were some of the things that you had to do in order to get that 21%, Zach?
It was as simple as installing the big sucker. It really that really shows you how much a lot of these Harleys and a lot of these motorcycles are choked up. We threw on an air cleaner, we threw the bike on a dyno, and it was just that.
Fantastic. Now, what kind of increase can you expect if you went ahead and modified fuel and definitely allowed the exhaust to breathe better by doing a complete aftermarket free-flowing exhaust system and kind of unrestricting the baffles?
You know what, it really depends. I mean, it depends on your setup. Some fuel tuners are better than others, and some exhausts are better than others. I think traditionally always a 2-in-1 exhaust pipe is going to get you more power. Mm-hmm. So if you set the right combo, one, I think the most vital is going to be your air cleaner, followed by the exhaust, and then of course if you do both, you're going to need to have that fuel tuner. But with the right combination of three, you could see, give or take on your bike, but on as far as you can get anywhere from 25 to 35% increase, I mean, depending on your model.
That's fantastic. Once again, without getting into the motor, just bolting something onto the outside, you can dramatically increase the amount of power, usable power, that you're getting out of your motorcycle. Now on this page here, we've got a couple of the popular options from Arlen Ness. You got the Stage 1, Stage 2, the new inverted, which is pretty fantastic. Once again, all of these air kits are going to have cleanable, serviceable filters. And once again, the 2013, we have the new inverted sucker, which is absolutely awesome to look at. Now, when it comes to tuning up your filter, it's, like I said, super simple. Use the cleaner on one hand, rinse the filter out, apply the oil on the other hand. Now, Arlen Ness has something that is unique product to them that nobody else has, and that is a clear filter oil. Now, what was the reasoning for coming up with the clear filter oil, Zach?
It's because we offer two styles of air filter elements. So traditionally, you always see with exposed filters or a K&N or another similar product. A lot of the times, it's that red. What we did is for aesthetics and a different look is we put a same surgical 4-layer cotton layer filter element, but we put a stainless steel jacket around the filter. So instead of being red, you have a nice stainless steel finish, which matches a lot of chrome and black products. And what that clear filter oil does is it keeps the stainless shiny, keeps the filter element well oiled, and really letting that stainless do the work for you. When you have a red filter, what that is, it's a regular cotton filter, but the filter oil is actually dyed red, which gives you that red accent.
Beautiful. Thanks for the clarification there. And the other piece here is the pre-filter that you can see there on the right-hand side of the screen. Pre-filter basically blocks out large debris and keeps your filter cleaner longer. All right.
Kyle, with that pre-filter.
Yeah.
With pre-filter or rain sock, if you call it. With our new inverted series, we actually just pulled the trigger, and our inverted series will start shipping within the next week with a new type of filter element. And what that filter element will do is it's water resistant. So it will, you won't need to re-oil it. You can just wash it, and instead you'll never need a rain sock. It's a special type of filter element that's just came out, newly developed. And what that does is, so when you're in rain, it'll repel majority of water. Obviously, you're going to sit there with a hose up your air cleaner. Eventually, something's going to get in it. But what this new air filter does is basically has a built-in rain sock within the filter element, and it's a real nice way to get around it. Because a lot of guys say, okay, well, what if it rains when I have an exposed filter? And granted, it is a pain in the ass to go pull over, throw something on. Maybe you just want to keep rolling. What this does with our new inverted series, it eliminates that problem.
Beautiful. Yeah, another thing you're going to find with the inverted series that you're not going to find with any of the other air cleaners out there is the fact that it's actually pulling a little more air in due to the inverted or the very front section of the filter. It's not just a side element that's exposed. There's some technical benefits that go along with that. You want to expand on that for me, Zach?
Yeah. So our new inverted air cleaner series, and I got to be honest with you, there's a lot of time in the engineering in that guy. Me and my dad spent hours upon hours, days, months on engineering this thing. And what it does, it's a full billet air cleaner kit. And the backing plate is a one-piece forging, and we actually machine the front and back of the air cleaner. We machine the back of the air cleaner, for weight reduction, so there's less stress on your heads. We machine the front for a radius air inlet, so it's a nice smooth pathway for air to get in. And all hidden hardware. There's not a single piece of hardware exposed. You have your stainless steel jacketed filter element, and then the top is a one-piece forging air filter cover, which makes a nice couple things. The billet air cleaners these days, there's a couple popular styles. A lot of them use these studs that are straight up, and what our air cleaner does is it hugs the filter, which helps with leg clearance, and also gives a nice look because we can have machine marks running from the top to the bottom. And the one thing that Kyle was touching on was the front. So instead of traditionally where it pulls from the sides, you'll actually pull from the front of the air filter. We design the aesthetics and also function inside that air cleaner cover. And what that does, it works as a velocity stack. And so it'll pull from the face of it, and it gives a nice pathway for the air to get sucked into the face of the air cleaner as well as the side. So you're pulling from two areas instead of one.
There you go. The new inverted air cleaner kit from Arlen Ness. Now it's time for the big giveaway. So we're going to do the giveaway. We're then going to talk about the deals and specials that we have for you for the next 24 hours. And then we're going to roll into the question and answers, and we'll explain that in just a second. So, Jason, you ready to give away a big sucker?
Yes, I am. All right, so let's go to randomly choose a participant. All right, let's see. Robert Lewis, you have just won a big sucker.
Yeah, nice.
Congratulations, Robert.
All right. Are you there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Hey, what are you currently riding?
The 03 Ultra Classic.
Nice. Beautiful. Have you ever looked at the Arlen Ness Big Sucker before as far as an option for your bike?
I have. Yes, I have.
Any questions on those? As long as we got here on the line tonight?
No, I just I think they're great. Yeah, can't wait to get it.
That's exciting. So yeah, so shoot me an email with your contact information. Mine is Kyle, K-Y-L-E, at cruisercustomizing.com. And I'll email back and forth with you, arrange for your order, and we'll get that big sucker on the way.
Okay.
Excellent. Hey, well, thanks again for participating.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
You bet.
That's awesome. So as appreciation or in appreciation for all of you attending tonight, we have a 24-hour only special. This special is going to be for only 24 hours, and it's kind of a twofold special. So without having to break the bank, so any order of any size, if you use coupon code ANW13, it's again the coupon code in the order section of your checkout cart, ANW13, you'll get the King of Choppers book from Arlen Ness. Now this book is absolutely fantastic. It's got basically the story of Arlen Ness. It's got tons of pictures of some beautiful, beautiful motorcycles. And once again, any purchase of any Arlen Ness product, be it a mirror, which is extremely inexpensive, up to an air kit, which we hope that you want to take a look at because that's what we're talking about tonight, and it's an integral part of your motorcycle. But that coupon code will get you that book. Now, if your order's over $150, Cruiser Customizing is throwing in a $25 gift certificate for the use of anytime you want to use that in the future, it's yours. So you'll add this coupon code into your cart. The book will be on the way with whatever product you have in your cart. And if it's over $150, then you will have a gift certificate that should be in your email shortly after your click the checkout button. So now it is time. This is just a written version that will flash up in a bit as well. But once again, you get a free Arlen Ness King of Choppers book using ANW13, and then a $25 gift certificate for a larger order. Now, question and answer time. This is absolutely my absolute favorite part of this entire webinar process. So we get to talk with you, get your questions, and hopefully dispel any myths or concerns that you might have. And there's two ways to do this. You can raise your hand. There's a little hand button there on your screen. Go ahead and click the hand button, and Jason will unmute your mic, make it live, and you can ask us any question that you like. The second way to do this is to type a question into the chat box to staff. What Jason will do then is he will read questions randomly as we as we go through the Q&A session. And if you have a question that you wouldn't, you don't care to verbalize or have Jason read to the group, you can go ahead and email me, Kyle, K-Y-L-E, at cruisercustomizing.com, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. So Jason, have you got anybody with their hands raised at the moment?
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with that, and then you can go ahead and mix the typed questions in as we go.
All right, sure. So, let's see. Robert has his hands up. So, Robert, are you there?
Yeah, hi. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. Hey, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks. It's my second one I've listened to. They're really great. I have a question. I got a 98 Harley Road King, fuel injected. What options can I have for that to try to get a little more power with my, my intake?
What have you done so far, Robert?
It's got this is how about it. It had the Power Commander, an older one. I think Power Commander 3, with the intake with the valves on it, the butterflies. But I want to know if that's a good option or if there's something else that might be a little better for me.
So is that? I'm guessing that's you got a Kuryakin hypercharger?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Okay, so nothing against Kuryakin or the hypercharger. I know that sells really well and everything else. I do think, and granted, I mean, you could say I'm biased, obviously, being a Ness, and I just like, but I mean, I do know our air cleaner kills it, man. I mean, there is, and we do a ton of testing to make sure we continually improve and we continually stay on top. I will recommend that. Do you have an exhaust done yet?
No. It's sorry. It's oh look, I'm having a blank right now. It's oh god, I'm blanking out right here.
No worries.
Oh god, I can't think of what my exhaust is right now.
Are they?
Yeah, I do have. No, it's they redid the whole exhaust because it's how I bought the bike. Oh God, not Vance and Hines.
Reinhardt?
Yeah, Reinhardt. Sorry, Reinhardt.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Reinhardts.
Okay. I mean, there's a couple ways you can go. I mean, you do have your exhaust, your air cleaner, and your fuel tuner. I mean, I would also recommend the Arlen Ness just because obviously I'm going to have to do that. But I think, if you wanted to move to the next step, the possible next step, I think the easiest would be changing your cams.
Oh, okay.
I think that's kind of the next step up, and it's more of a moderate upgrade. And you're not, if you want to go into bigger cylinders and increasing your displacement, you can go that far. But I think for initial, where I'd recommend is change your cams because it's a relatively simple and inexpensive change as far as actually cracking open your engine. So, because you're kind of almost all the way there with a bolt-on without really digging into it. So personally, I'd recommend maybe step in and possibly looking into a set of cams.
Okay, now so then I could just, if I wanted to start off just first off is just get a new, say the inverted big sucker. Yeah. That would be something that I could just bolt right on with the fuel injection. That would be fine with everything that I have in it. Just take the old one off and put this one on.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. So I won't have to change the
you
power
could,
commander.
And also, have you ever gotten your bike tuned?
Yes.
Okay.
Last summer, yeah.
Okay, so last summer. So possibly, I changed the air cleaner. It's going to flow a tiny bit differently because you're changing your air cleaner, but it's going to be relatively the same. So I'd recommend that inverted cleaner, and then if you want to take that next step, look into a set of cams.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thanks very much.
Anytime,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks for joining us, Robert.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, man.
All right, next question, I'm actually going to read this one out, is from Adam. He's asking, he's a little bit confused with his high-performance filter, such as a big sucker. He says that his local shop is telling him that he doesn't need a fuel commander setup since he has a fuel injection. And he wants to know if someone could coach him a little bit on it.
Okay. So, Zach can definitely answer that question, but before you do, Zach, I'm going to jump in there.
Yeah.
The stock fuel or the stock fuel injection from the factory is going to moderately adjust your air and fuel plus or minus based upon the amount of air that they allow into the motorcycle. once you remove that stock airbox, you've completely thrown out the algorithm, if you will, that they use in order to generate the proper mixtures for your particular bike. I guess that's the easiest way that I could explain that. You got any, what do you got on that one, Zach?
I'd say what they're telling you is, you know, I'm not sure what your shop is and the information you're getting, so I'm just kind of running off what he read. Well, you're going to have fuel injection, so that's what your bike comes with. That's just your type of fuel management. That's just the way the system your bike uses. What the fuel tuner will do is that modifies the amount of fuel your engine puts in and the amount of fuel that it's going to, it's going to retard, depending on your type of situation. What that does is it basically helps your fuel management and your fuel injection work a little better since you modified the bike. So you took off, say, the stock air cleaner. So what the bike is used to and what the bike is programmed for is that choked up air cleaner. When you change that, if you're just changing the air cleaner only, you can get away with it. So what it will do, and when you put that fuel tuner in there, it basically helps your engine recognize that you threw something else on there, for lack of better words. So it's basically helping. What's the best analogy I could think of? It's like having a I don't know. I'm not going to say an analogy. All I can tell you is basically it teaches your fuel injection kind of what to do. Just it's like a tutor to your kid in a way. It helps them out. It makes it run better. It's kind of just adding it's teaching it a little better.
Good job. Thanks, Zach.
If that answered your question.
All right. Next question here. Alan has his hands raised. So, Alan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Alan.
Can you hear me
Welcome
okay?
to the webinar.
Hello?
Thanks for joining us tonight. What can we do for you?
Okay, the question is, and I'm one of the skeptics, why wouldn't the engine, I ride a Yamaha 2004 V-Star 650 Classic. So the question is, why wouldn't the engineers at Yamaha already have designed to find the maximum amount of airflow going in, therefore creating the stock airbox, and to make it already have the maximum performance, trying to be competitive, especially against other manufacturers.
Okay, I got an answer for you, man. And especially with working real closely with Victory and Indian and developing their products, and the answer to that one is that government regulations and the Environmental Protection Agency. It's government relations. There's a couple things you don't know about every OEM motorcycle, at least unless you really look into it. One is the engineers are restricted. One is noise regulation. If your air cleaner engine's too loud, they won't let it pass, and they got to go through a Euro 3. Europe's really hard with regulations, and so is some parts of Asia. So what it does, why they don't engineer it is because they're simply not allowed. One, it's emission related, and two, it's noise related. So those are the two things they got to go by, and it's really tough to meet that standard. A lot of aftermarket air cleaners, anytime you do it, there's no chance it would pass on a noise regulation or a lot of EPA regulations right away. Some will. It depends what, but I'm not saying I know any better on how to engineer a better air cleaner than the engineers in Yamaha, because they're very talented and extremely smart people. It's the fact that they're held up by government regulation.
Okay, have you actually tested this?
Nope, you're breaking up there.
You're breaking up, man. One more time.
Okay, once again, and hold the mic close. How's that, better?
That's
Yes.
perfect.
Okay. So has this particular, the big sucker, been put onto a Yamaha V-Star? By any chance to see how well that does?
Yes, our big sucker metric has put on there. I can't tell you off the top of my head the numbers it put out, but every product that we manufacture, it's installed, it's tested, it's dynoed. Otherwise, it's I don't know what the best way. I've been doing it for a long time, and definitely every product we throw it on, test it, and make sure it's a successful product. Otherwise, we wouldn't want to put a product out to you like that.
Okay, it's carbureted. Will that require rejetting on that particular bike?
Usually I recommend it.
Yeah, I've installed aftermarket air cleaners, both the Big Sucker as well as the Kuryakin Hypercharger and the Barron's Big Air Kit on V-Star 650s in the past. I have ridden all of them without having done it. Well, I've not ridden all of them. I've ridden two of them without having done a jet kit because it didn't come with the kit and the end user did not want to purchase a jet kit to put in it. What happened with that is we ended up getting a lot of backfiring and it just didn't run correctly.
That just seems a little bit of intimidating to me, being this is my first bike. So.
Okay, go ahead and take a look at the Cruiser Customizing YouTube. It's YouTube/Cruiser Customizing. And then in there you can search for a jet kit install on a V-Star 650 and you can see the step-by-step exactly how it's done. It's really not that difficult. There's only one thing that could be difficult for any V-Star 650 owner, and that is the syncing of the carbs because you've got two carburetors that are in there. And that 9 times out of 10 doesn't need to be done. Most people who install a jet kit at home in the garage do not sync their carbs. But if the bike ran a little rough after you put the new jet kit in, that's the only thing that you would need to do or take to the dealership to have done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay.
All right. The next question here, I see that is being asked by a lot. It's an emissions-related question. So I've been getting questions if they could install the Arlen Ness filter without rejecting carb.
One more time.
The people are asking if they could install the air filter without rejecting the carb.
Rejecting the carb as far as the California Air Resources Board?
Yes.
It gets we're entering an age where it's getting increasingly more difficult. And California's, and excuse my language, a son of a bitch to deal with emissions. It really is, and they make it more and more difficult. And one reason is because the automotive industry got no problems with that. You got to put a sticker on with a lot of those things. But we don't have the money the big car companies do to fight and have lobbyists within the government. But anyone who changes their air cleaner, right now it's not mandatory. You got to smog your motorcycle, and hopefully it won't be for a minute. So any aftermarket air cleaner you put on, you're going to be fine. I mean, unless it comes down to where you need to inspect any motorcycle. But you really have nothing to worry about. You're not going to get a ticket. You're not going to get a fine. When you start looking at a California Air Resources Board and you start getting nervous about that, I think the one thing you would have to be nervous about, if anything, and I wouldn't think you have to worry about it now, but that's exhaust. Mm-hmm. That's usually when they're going to get you for anything. An air cleaner, they're not going to bother you in that, at least not that point in time, and none that I foresee in the future, or at least any near-time future.
Well, and currently on all of the stock air boxes, there's not a label on the current stock air box that says this can't be removed or altered or whatever have you, unlike the exhaust pipes that are each stamped for emissions control and sound and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, until we have to take our bikes down and get physically inspected and looked at, I think we're all going to be okay.
All right, that sounds good. I'm pretty sure that that clarified a lot of the questions that everyone else asked. So moving on, George has his hand up. So George, are you there?
Hey George, you out there? All right, let's go ahead and put George on hold and move on to the next one. Hey George, if you're out there trying to talk to you, so go ahead and get the mic ready and we'll come on back to you.
All right. Next participant, how about you, Jim? Are you there, Jim?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Jim, thanks for joining us tonight. What can we do for you?
Well, I have a 2012 Harley-Davidson trike with a 103, and let me tell you what I've done to it so far, and then I'll ask my question. I put Vance and Hines mufflers on it, an Arlen Ness Big Sucker air cleaner, and an Andrews 54H cam.
Okay.
Now, my question is, do I have to have the ECM reprogrammed?
Yes, I definitely recommend it.
Now, I read an article in a magazine that says the Harley ones are locked from the factory. So can it? No,
depending as, I'm not sure what you read and what it was, but usually any kind of fuel programmer, you're going to go in, that's what will help it modify your fuel injection. So if you get a fuel tuner, maybe their program's locked, or maybe that's what they're talking about. I'm not exactly positive, but you'll have no problem on those bikes throwing on a fuel tuner.
So, and also this article said they should be tuned on a dyno.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those subjects to where you can go either way. A lot of times, a lot of fuel tuners come with pre-programmed packages that they do spend a lot of time and money on R&D and making sure they work perfectly. But anytime, each engine's unique, and each kind of performance accessory setup combination could throw kind of a little bit different factors than just your standard deal. So if you want to really, really tune your motorcycle, fuel tuner is going to help. But anytime you take to a dyno and really have them fine-tune it for your particular motorcycle, you're probably going to get slightly better results, or maybe even greater. So it really is just fine-tuning it exactly to every accessory your motorcycle has, but you're going to get a big performance just with a fuel tuner only as well.
Well, the problem with that is I don't think anybody out there has a dyno for a trike.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can throw it on a car dyno a lot of those times.
Well, I took it out to a shop here last week and asked them about it, and they said the motorcycle wouldn't have enough power to run the car dyno. And the other thing is the car dynos just have ramps that go up, so your front wheel, there's nothing for your front wheel to go up on.
I got you. Yeah, it makes it a little more difficult. And off the top of my head, man, I don't have an answer on the dyno for the trike just off the top of my head. But
yeah.
If we, I'll do a little more research, and if I find something, I'll let Kyle know, and maybe can hit on it a little later.
Where are you located, Jim?
Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have a couple contacts out there that might be able to help you out, so go ahead and shoot me an email, and we'll see if we can't get that squared away for you.
Okay, so what about these aftermarket ECMs?
The fuel tuner or ECM?
ECM.
Kyle, you want to touch on the ECM?
What's the fuel tuner? Is that something you add and onto the ECM?
So fuel tuner basically will help your fuel injection. It modifies it to accept the performance. So it basically tells your fuel injection to put more air in or put more fuel in according to your preset settings or where you set it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Take care.
Yep.
All right. The next question is going to be from Thomas. Are you there?
Hello?
Hey, Thomas. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kyle.
How's it going?
I bet you I'm doing very well, thank you.
Super. What can
I've
you do
never
for us
used
today?
one of these webinars before. I'm really surprised. I was like really shocked.
Nice, nice. Well, I hope it's beneficial for you.
Absolutely. Do you see my question that I typed in?
Actually, Jason would have that. I don't have it in front of my screen, but what was it? What we got you on the line here?
Okay. I have a Harley Davidson, a 2010 FLTRX. Barbara,
Okay.
I have an FLTRX from 2010, and I have currently the Scream Eagle air intake there with the K&N air filter.
Okay.
And actually what I was wondering is to switch over to your arrangement here, the Arlen Ness Big Sucker, would there be a big increase in air? And what fuel management system would not void Harley extended warranty?
Okay, there's a couple different answers to that question, and the first is none of them should void the factory warranty as long as you're. I mean, the reason you're modifying your air and your fuel is to make it correct.
Right.
And in order for them to not hold up the factory warranty, they would have to prove that those modifications were what made whatever part fail. So that's the first answer. I mean, there's lots of people who've done significant modifications to the motorcycle, and whatever part failed has nothing to do with those enhancements, and therefore, it's all covered under the warranty. As far as the Screaming Eagle kit, I don't know, what the rate of flow that particular kit is, but I'd be willing to bet that the new inverted Big Sucker or the new inverted air kit is definitely higher flowing than it. Zach, any testing on that you guys have done?
Yeah, what we do, one of the things is the filter in our kits is better. We actually sell replacement filters for Screaming Eagle kits for that reason. So we have a couple options for you. One, you switch over to our big sucker. The great part about that is our patent big sucker hidden breather backing plate. Again, to touch on that, it puts the breathers into the actual backing plate, eliminates any need for external hoses, hardware fittings. It's just a cleaner setup. I know ours does flow better than Screaming Eagle because they have certain regulations they have to abide by as well because of the sheer numbers that Harley-Davidson pushes out. But you can either switch over the kit, or we also do offer replacement filters to go on your air cleaner kit you have now.
Okay, and just one other quick question too, because obviously when you're changing the air coming into the motor, if you're using a stock exhaust, you're going to not get the velocity of air through the motor. So you would need to change exhaust to really see the best increase, correct?
I mean, you will see an increase no matter what if you just do an air cleaner only.
Absolutely.
But it's like anything else. I mean, obviously you think breathing, you got to inhale and exhale, so there's no doubt putting that exhaust on is going to be a big help as well.
Right. And one other quick question, do you have a rain sock that goes over it?
Yes, we do.
Oh, great. Okay, because I wasn't even sure if you had a rain sock for it.
Yeah, we got a rain sock for the big suckers, and actually our inverted series. Starting next week, there will all, and anyone that say if you ordered it now, it'll have it in there. We have a new filter element that's water resistant. So it's like having a built-in rain sock in it, so you won't even need one.
Really?
Yeah, it's a new filter element technology that's just developed, and real excited about it, but it eliminates that problem.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, thanks again for answering me, and I think you have a great product. Rock on.
Thank you very much, man.
Hey, thanks for the call, Thomas.
Okay, Godspeed.
You take care.
Have a good one.
All right, so we got the next question from D. Freeman. D, are you there?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, D, welcome to the show.
Well, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. I'm riding a 2009 M109R.
Okay.
I've got was it the K&N stock replacements in the filter module there.
Okay.
And I've got Cobra swept pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the Cobra Power Pro module, fuel module.
Yep. Very familiar.
But I really like, I've got a Ness theme going on my bike with the accessories and stuff. And
I like it. I like it.
And I really would like to get, because I've heard about this inverted air kit you guys got.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that one with the new filter, the new rain filter, is probably just for Harley, yes?
Yes, it's just for Harley, and we're just starting our initial development and research as far as transfer over the metric series. Right now it's not available, and I can't tell you it's going to be immediate future that's going to be available, but I will tell you that we are in current R&D as far as looking into it.
I know that, what is it, let me think for a second here, Thunder Manufacturing, they make an adapter kit that they claim will let you use Harley air kits on metric bikes.
That is correct.
Are you aware if that will actually let me use the inverted air kit now?
You know what, I'm not, Kyle, you might want to touch on that one. I'm not completely familiar with that, the adapter kit, so I don't want to tell you a different one or, some wrong information. But, Kyle, could you touch a little on that?
Yeah, I definitely can do that. So most of the Harley-Davidson air filters that you're going to be able to bolt up to, say, the Thunder Manufacturing backing plate, for example, like the Hypercharger, when it bolts on, it bolts directly to, say, the intake manifold or the carburetor itself, and then reuses a lot of the stock stuff, like the breather hoses that come off of the heads that go into that. That would be, what am I trying to say? So the Thunder Manufacturing backing plate would bolt directly up to, say, whatever you would need on your bike. So to bolt up your carb or your intake manifold or whatever it is, and then you would just stack the Harley-Davidson one on top of that. Being since Arlen Ness has their proprietary backing plate that bolts up differently than any of the other air kits out there, I don't know that would work.
Okay, all right. I'm kind of forced to wait for the one for the M109. Okay.
Maybe. Hey, Zach, here's an idea for you. Is there a way possibly in your guys' creation there that you can create an adapter plate or spacer that would allow people with a current big sucker to adapt the filter and housing of the new inverted? Just a thought, just throwing it out there.
It is. I mean, it's a possible thing. Not something that we've looked into, obviously, because we want to get you that full kit, obviously. But like anything else, but really, I can tell you, I know how to do it on myself. If I'm doing some fab work myself, and you throw me in the shop, but
right.
But it is. But what we'll do, and when we want to throw the inverteds on the metric bikes, we really want to have the backing plate created for your motorcycle. Adapter plates are great; they work. Nothing to doubt them in any kind of way. But I know that, as far as my personal opinion and the philosophy of our company, we really want to tailor our products to your motorcycle, so we know we're going to get the best performance and the best result possible.
I can appreciate that. I ride with CMA, and unfortunately, though, my patience has never been my best quality.
I'm with you on that.
Thank you, though, guys. Ride safe, yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling in, D. Take care.
All right.
All right. We have another question from Glenn. Glenn, are you there?
Hey, Glenn, welcome. We can hear you, but just barely faintly.
Okay, is that a little better?
A little bit better, but you're still really quiet there. What can we do for you tonight, Glenn?
Well, I have a 2008 Roadstar, and I'm wondering why you don't make any kits for the 2.8 and up Roadstars.
Okay, so for those of you who couldn't hear Glenn because he's pretty faint, he rides a 2008 Roadstar. Is wondering why Arlen Ness doesn't make a kit for that particular year model motorcycle.
Well, man, there's kind of one simple answer for you. There's maybe not the favorable, but currently it's on our current development and in our product range, and I'm kind of one of the guys. Well, it's either me or Corey, and it's my dad who makes that decision. But right now with development for Harley models, Victory and Indian, that's kind of been our focus lately. But one of the touches that will be for this year is really focusing on the metric line and taking another look and redoing those kits and adding the inverted line to that and kind of digging in. The main thing is just because we've been so focused in other areas, we just haven't touched upon that. And we have recognized that, and we have been hearing a demand for it, and so that's a need that we're going to try to help you guys out with. And so that's why we've been really heavily looking into all the R&D development for the Metric Series bikes.
Okay, well, I'm going to hold off on getting one and see what happens this year.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, and we'll be working hard, and hopefully we get one out there for you soon.
Okay, we'll be counting on you.
Thanks, man.
Excellent. Thanks for calling in, Glenn.
All right, let me read out a question here from Dave. Dave is asking if he can install the Arlen Ness filter without rejetting the carburetor.
Okay, and we've had that question come up a couple times now. Zach has explained it pretty good that unless you're really doing something trick to the motorcycle, the engine's only going to pull as much air as it can handle, and therefore it's usually not necessary unless you modify the exhaust pipes as well, which will then completely kind of throw your bike out of whack.
I agree. It's if you're going to install an air cleaner, an aftermarket air cleaner being ours or anything else, you can install ours. If it's an air cleaner by itself, you're not going to have to. You don't have to rejet, or you don't have to do a fuel tuner if you don't want to. If anything else, if you want to fine tune your motorcycle, you can start to rejetting or a fuel tuner. I think it's kind of your own discretion, but I will recommend if you're going to do an air cleaner kit and then move past that and do an exhaust or another kind of engine upgrade, I'd start to look at it. It helps your engine run better. You're going to get more performance, and you're going to get some longevity of your engine just because your engine's fine-tuned to every accessory that's on there.
And I'd like to add to that really quick. Really, from the factory, your bike isn't really tuned, perfectly. It's tuned to pass emissions and tuned to pass smog and to have minimal impact on our environment. But if you're really looking to get performance out of the bike, really a fuel tuner, an air kit, a set of exhaust pipes are three things that you can really do to maximize what your motor was created to do, and that's to make power. And there's been several times when I've actually done jet kits, back in the day, on motorcycles with stock air intake and stock exhaust, and had dramatic improvements, and it just runs so much better when that mixture is correct. So yes, I mean it's possible to not do a jet kit or fuel management, but in my professional opinion, I would highly recommend modifying the air fuel, making sure it's correct so you can get the optimum performance that your bike was designed to produce.
Right, I guess that answered that question. Robert Lewis actually has his hand raised. And Robert, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Robert, welcome to
Hello.
the show.
What's up, Robert?
Thanks very much. Yeah, with the I've got the 03 Ultra Classic.
Okay.
Fuel injected, and I was considering. Well, now I got a big sucker coming. I was wondering about exhausts, and I don't ride my bike hard, but I was wondering what exhaust you would recommend for maybe getting a little more low-end torque out of it.
Mm-hmm. You want to go slip-ons or full exhaust system?
Probably slip-ons.
For slip-ons, Reinhardt's a good solid setup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
American-made performance, and Gerald is real tight on his stuff. He takes extreme. Gerald Reinhardt is who I'm talking about, but he takes extreme pride in their brand, and they really are. I mean, what I hear him say over and over and over again is "put up or shut up," and he really holds to it. Reinhardt's a good product. Vance and Hines a good product. Off the top of my head, I'd recommend those two on slip-ons.
Okay.
Then after that, I mean, there is obviously several brands out there, but if I'm going to say off the top of my head, me personally, I'd run with those two initially.
Excellent. And I was considering putting on the Cobra FI 2000 tuner, and I was just wondering, what you think of the product.
Cobra's a nice product, and Kyle knows that product 100 times better than I do, but I know as far as the self-adjusting, and that thing's constantly monitoring your engine. So it's like, that guy who won't shut up and talking to you for every second. It's like that to your engine at all times, but in a beneficial way and not annoying you.
Excellent.
And that's the truth. We've got some videos that we did where we installed that on a Sportster and saw dramatic increases. Now, when we just put the fuel tuner in and ran just the fuel tuner with a set of Vance and Hines pipes, and we saw legitimately not much of a difference. I mean, the bike ran way better. It didn't backfire anymore, but as far as power, there was negligible difference. I mean, it was like, a couple horsepower. But when we actually did the installation of the air cleaner on top of those other two modifications, the FI 2000 Power Pro and the exhaust, we saw a significant increase, almost 20 horses.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, almost 20% increase, not 20 horses.
It's excellent.
Yeah, I know. So the fuel tuner is awesome, and it does a great job. We've ridden it at altitude. We've ridden it at sea level. We've gone up to almost 10,000 feet with it, and it just flawlessly worked. And I've got to say, it was a very impressive unit.
Excellent. Good to hear.
All right. Thanks, Robert, for the call.
Thanks, Ben.
All right. William has his hand raised. William, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, William.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I've got a 2007 Kawasaki Vulcan Nomad 1600 with a Power Commander 3. I do have Vance and Hines dual bagger pipes. The only thing I haven't really done to it is a new air system. I haven't found anything from Arlen Ness that actually seems to fit my bike. Which air system would be best for me to change over to?
Vulcan 2007 Vulcan Nomad. Hey, William, let me go ahead and get with you on email on that one. I'll go ahead and take a look at some of the options that we've got, and I'll come back with my personal recommendation. What was your email? Not over the line, but shoot me an email, Kyle at cruisercustomizing.com. And
Kyle at Cruiser Customizing?
That's it, and I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and we'll get that handled for you.
All right, sounds good to me.
Beautiful. Hey, thanks for the call, William.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right, so anyone else who has questions, you could raise your hand if you want to ask it live. We do still have a few more questions. There has been a lot of questions on information on how they're going to know if this air kit fits on their specific bike.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in there real quick. If you search on either our site or Arlen Ness's website for your specific make and your specific model, so choose the drop-down, choose if it's Harley Davidson, Sportster, Softail, whatever it is, or metric, right, whether it's a VTX or a Roadstar, choose your specific model, search the air kits that are within that model range, and they're designed to be model-specific fitments. I would highly discourage using universal applications because then you're going to be, having to customize some things you may not want to have to customize.
All right, so let me read off a few questions here. I have a question here. Why wouldn't the manufacturer already put the maximum amount of air into the design of the stock airbox?
Okay. Well, I touched a little bit on that earlier. It's because of regulations. Once again, just regulations. The government, environmental protection agencies, TUV, Euro 3, no matter what country in, they're going to put severe and big restrictions on these guys. What that does, it has its points. Do I agree with them? No. But such is life, and so they're forced with it, and that's why it requires, several to hundreds of engineers of these OEMs to create these things, because they really have to go around this stuff, whether it be noise, whether it be environmental pollution related, or whatnot. It's because they're held to certain restrictions. Otherwise, there'd be no question they want to perform the utmost. So that's why those factory race bikes are majorly different than any kind of thing you see on the road, is because they're not held with those restrictions.
Great answer, Zach. Next question, Jason.
All right, let me scroll through these questions really quick.
All right, this will probably be the last one that we take that's written. Looks like we're getting down to very similar questions coming up. So once Jason gives his last one, we'll go ahead and handle it. And once again.
All right. Let's see. We have a question here of how the AN filters are better than the K&N.
Okay.
Well, real quick before Zach jumps in on that one. Better, again, is a relative term. Both the Arlen Ness filters and the K&N filters do a phenomenally better job than, say, a stock filter in flowing more air. Now, that being said, Zach, what are some of the key differentiators that you guys have in your filters?
Okay. Well, a couple things. One I'm going to touch on, just like Kyle said, I can't say a single bad thing about K&N. They're a great company. They make a great product. I've worked with them on different projects before, not necessarily Arlen Ness related, but just on different things, and they make a great thing too. But what the reason I personally think our air filter is better is the handmade process. K&N filters and other filters like that are made by a spinning process. It's an automated process, and what that does is it spins the filter. But what it does is the urethane. Your filter is made of urethane and a cotton or paper filter element. K&N and ours are made out of cotton. Our filters are made of 4 layers of surgical grade cotton, and what makes ours better, to my opinion, would be that they're hand poured in the USA one at a time. They're handcrafted piece. What that does is makes a smooth line between the urethane and the filter element, and what that does is, opposed to the spinning process that a lot of other companies use, is that urethane, when they spin it, it tends to get over the filter element. Not everywhere, but a good portion of it gets this urethane here and there. We call that wicking material. What that does is it just restricts airflow. It's like if you're breathing through a hose and then you cover a quarter of it, obviously you can't suck in as much. It's kind of like that. What our air filter does, since it's a handmade process, it takes a little bit more time since you're making it by hand and one at a time. But what that does, it ensures a clean look, and no restrictive material on your air filter element.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Zach. All right. Once again, I'd like to really thank everybody for attending this Cruiser Customizing Arlen Ness webinar. We talked about air cleaner kits in general, and of course the big sucker from Arlen Ness, and the new for 2013 inverted sucker. Once again, the coupon code to get your King of Choppers book for free as a thank you for attending is ANW13, and if your order is over $150, you'll get a $25 gift certificate in your email. Again, thank you everybody for attending. Kyle at Cruiser Customizing is my email address. You can go ahead and shoot me any emails with any questions that you've got from either tonight's episode or anything else from our catalog. Zach, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. We really appreciate your expert advice on the air cleaner topic here.
Anytime. Thanks, Kyle, and everyone out there listening. And customers of Arlen Ness, just want to say we really appreciate your business. Thank you very much, and we'll continue to create some products that improve the performance and looks of your motorcycle.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. And thanks again, Jason, for taking the backstage approach and making sure this was flawless. Everyone, once again, thanks again, and we'll see you guys around. Until next time, you guys take care and ride safe.
All right, take care, everyone.